Shocking new video shows the lawlessness of Democrat cities colliding with Joe Biden's open borders insanity. 2 NYPD police officers getting outnumbered and savagely beaten by a large group of illegal immigrants near Times Square. Those cops were just trying to break up a disorderly crowd outside a shelter, trying to arrest one of the illegals, and that's when the mob attacked. One of the thugs kicking an officer in the face while he's on the ground. He suffered a cut to his face, and the other officer was injured. 5 of those violent suspects were arrested by police later that same night, charged with assaulting a police officer, but 4 of them already back on the street, released without bail. And get this, they were only in custody for 3 hours. And we're getting new video of that 5th migrant in court today. One NYPD chief says all of those cop-beating migrants should be locked up.
Reprehensible. Cowards. You have 8 people attacking on a lieutenant and a cop. The 4 that were arrested should be sitting in Rikers right now, on bail. Should be indicted this week and taken off our streets. You want to know why our cops are getting assaulted? There's no consequences, and we must change this.
Even New York Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul's outraged, and she's floating the D word.
Why is it okay that they are left out on bail?
I'm not satisfied with that at all. These are law enforcement officers who should never, under any circumstances, be subjected to physical assault.
Those individuals be deported?
I think that's absolutely something that should be looked at. I mean, if someone commits a crime against a police officer in the state of New York, and they're not, they've not processed, they're not here legally, definitely worth checking into.
Okay, so they're going to, Greg, check into.
What an ass. Number one, does she even, this happens to citizens all the time, right? And now she's shocked that it happened to cops. Look, the Democratic Party needs to change its name to the BPP, the Breaking Point Party, because in every facet of society now, we're at its breaking point, whether it is crime and immigration, which is now meeting right there on the street, education, division, foreign policy. Every place there's unfettered progressivism, you end up with chaos. And that is a microcosm of chaos. You have order represented by the police, and you have chaos represented by thugs. Now, if you point out this situation, you're talking about a policy. What is wrong with the policy? But the moment you talk about this, the left will say you're talking about people. And this is what they do with trans rights. This is what they do with everything. It's but they always twist it so that you're referring to the people. But immigrants are wonderful. We're not arguing that, right? We're addressing what's wrong with a policy. And it's one that progressives create without ever factoring the consequences, which is what the police officer just said. They never factor in the consequences. So then you end up with incentivizing criminals to do whatever they want, which is what they're doing. And another problem with Democrats, Jessica, they're always upstream from the mistakes they cause, right? All of their blunders are felt downstream, like in Times Square by a cop. Or maybe it's a pedestrian or someone on the subway. Yet, for some reason, liberal leaders can afford such mistakes because the consequences never get near them. So you have a governor basically faking like she cares. But she doesn't, because if she cared, she would have done something about the crime in the city a long time ago.
And it's a sanctuary city, Dana. So there's a good chance they'll never be deported.
But also, don't you think that those 3 that are out already, they're already back in shelters that you're paying for?
Right.
And that's pretty gross. What better sentence that sums up the Biden administration than this one? Illegal immigrant mob beats up officers released immediate without bail. So I am like, okay,
You got everything.
That's in one sentence. You got it right there. You don't even need to pay 30 seconds for a commercial for it. Paul Morrow, the Fox News contributor, former NYPD officer, said today that there's indication, he's heard from sources there in the police force, that there's organized pickpocketing happening by Venezuelan gangs. What do we know that Biden did? He said, okay, if you're Venezuelan, you can come because we feel bad for you because things are terrible there.
He paroled them.
Things are terrible there, right? So you get to come and you get to live here and you get to do this to our people. And the other thing that happened in New York City, that you've got a mayor who tried to override a city council vote that's going to make officers take a note anytime he comes into contact with a citizen. You have to go back and file a paperwork in triplicate form. And the mayor tried to override it. We had a mom on Newsroom this morning who's devastated by it. She tried to fight for the mayor and say, my daughter was killed last year. They never would have found her murderer if the cops had to do this. Please don't do this. And they overrode the mayor's veto, not by just a little bit, 42-9. So the city is, I think, at a breaking point in particular. And we, as Hemmer told me today, it's like we have too much to lose here.
Well, Democrats have been voting for this, and this is what you get. Jessica, you're up.
Great. Happy to be here. So it's a terrible situation. There's no defense of it, and it's not really about necessarily that this is a sanctuary city, because there are migrants that are being bused to non-sanctuary cities. And I think it really does come down to Kathy Hochul executing that idea that if you are a migrant and you are here illegally, that you are deported right away, that you have harsher penalties for doing something like this because you're here out of the good graces of our heart. And we've been talking about that consistently, you know, with migrants that are on the street pushing people out of hotels, pushing people out of schools. We're going to talk about that as well, out of rec centers, closing those down because they have to move migrant families into them. I think there should be harsher penalties for that. And I went back and looked at the legislative history of Kate's Law. Remember the law that was created for Kate Stein Lee, the 32-year-old woman in San Francisco who was murdered by an undocumented man who I think had been deported 6 times or something like that. And it passed the House in 2017. It had 24 Democrats that voted for it. And it still needs to get through the Senate. And Ted Cruz reintroduced it again last year. I think that this is a moment where people are feeling this so deeply that something like that could get passed. And I think that that would be a step in the right direction. But obviously, the federal government needs to do better in terms of making sure that people like that are not here. Judge
Jeanine Pirro.
You know, it's interesting, Greg, when you talk about policy versus people, I've always, and that's certainly legitimate, I've always talked about people. I talk about the fact that we don't get angry enough when people are hurt. Look, these illegals came here illegally. They were not invited here. And they don't belong in Rikers. They belong back in Venezuela, if indeed they are Venezuelans. Okay? They need to be deported immediately because we don't want people like that in our country. We don't want people like that who literally take down the establishment, law and order, who violently attack a police officer, get him to the ground and kick him in the face, kick him in the head, and then they join each other. And you know, the amazing thing is these people want asylum. I don't believe they're entitled to asylum. They say they come here because they'll be persecuted in their own country. Chances are they deserve to be persecuted in their own country because I'm going to make a bet that this isn't the first time they've tried to take down a police officer or someone in authority. And yet they're going to want us to give them asylum from their country. They need to go back to their country. Now, aside from the fact that this is free advertising for the cartels, and this has been on all day long, it's proof to the world that we don't even have the dignity of defending ourselves and our own system. And blacks in this country are taking a second seat, and I don't like it. They're on the losing end of the stick, whether they're in Chicago, in Boston, or in New York City, whether they're being moved out of school gyms or moved out of hotels or anywhere else. Illegals are taking priority over the blacks in this country. And it's hard. I mean, if you want to give a sports center in Boston to illegals as opposed to minority kids who deserve it and who are American citizens, then that tells me that you are all in for people coming here who don't even want to swear allegiance to this country. I used to swear those people in, $300 a month. They used to come in with American flags. They loved this country. It was the happiest day of their lives. They couldn't wait to take a picture. They knew more American history than I did. Do you think these people deserve to be Americans? I don't.
I don't either. Nope. And Joe Biden could have prevented this, but he didn't.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.